That's heavy.
This is
So
a saber that my great-grandfather picked up at the Battle of Gettysburg. He was assigned to the Union Railroad, so he got around quite a bit. And he said that he picked this off a fallen Confederate soldier who belonged to the Black Horse Regiment of Northern Virginia, which was Jeb Stuart's outfit. And so it's been passed down through the generations, and I'm the one that holds it right now. This doesn't look like an actual Civil War sword because it's actually from the War of 1812. Confederate officers supplied very often their own equipment, and they didn't necessarily have Confederate issued weapons. So I'm giving you this as a white glove treatment because I don't want to have to wipe it down. Yeah, I'm afraid the paint. This is the original covering on it, so I don't
Can you
wanna have
unsheath it a little bit so we can see the blade?
Sure.
I can't
I would
imagine.
So this is
Yeah.
this is a sword from 1812, but it was recycled during the Civil War by the Confederate cavalrymen.
Right. Let me put this on the table so it's soft more easily.
I suspect the officer who carried that.
That's a
didn't survive
long
the
one.
battle.
I
Wow.
would think the officer would have to be pretty tall to handle
That's what I'm
this.
saying.
That's a it seems like
I
a
was
long
even looking at
blade.
your height. I'm saying I think you'd have trouble.
And this was collected off the battlefield of Gettysburg in the aftermath of the battle. Is that correct?
That's right. Off
Oh.
one of Jeb Stuart's Confederate officers.
Wow. And it's now here in Honolulu, Hawaii.
But it's probably that long so that you can strike from horseback.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly right.
That's the
Are there any inscriptions on the blade, like a foundry or your?
There's a 3 on it. You have to look pretty hard to see it. People kept insisting that they had to be a number on it.
Yeah.
And so I looked, and finally my son took a photo of it, and when you do the blow up of the photo, you can see the number 3 on it.
You're talking about a horse. I think it was probably somehow hooked to the saddle, to the saddle of the horse. I think somehow.
But this was who determined that it was an 1812 sword? Did you have it?
I sent pictures to the head of the Gettysburg Battleground,
Yes.
and he took a look at it, and I always thought it was a Civil War sword. And he said, no, it's from the War of 1812.
Well, it was used.
But it was used in the Civil War by
Yeah.
a member of Jeb Stuart's cavalry.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
And Jeb Stuart played a significant part in the Battle of Gettysburg. You probably heard that he got chewed out by Robert E. Lee because he
Wandering around.
right. He brought in. He took time out and arrived late. Is the way I recall it.
Yeah.
And that was because he came across a mule train of food and supplies, which he thought was really important. The
Right.
South was really hurting.
Yeah, they had to. They had to bend on that.
But
It's
they
awesome.
lost the Battle of Gettysburg, so
Well, that's what made Custer's name, because he stood in the way of
Wow.
Jeb Stuart.
That is something. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you.
if you want to hear about Jeb Stuart's part in the Battle of Gettysburg, I interviewed Ed Barse, and Ed Barse was a real expert on Jeb Stuart. He got interested in becoming a historian because he read a book about Jeb Stuart when he was a boy. And he used to come here.
Yes, he did.
Remember, he used to come here almost every year. And I was given the opportunity to interview him. I wanted to interview him about something different than the Civil War, about World War II, because Ed Barse was a World War II veteran and took part in some very important campaigns. For example, Iwo Jima.
That's a chameleon that you hear.